Thank you again for joining this session. Today, I would like to talk to you about the challenge that the leadership face in companies based on creativity, like Avenue Code or an IT company or market company. Okay, so to better explain what I would like to tell about creativity and inspiration, let's talk a little bit about the traditional management paradigm. Then we'll talk about our generation, the challenge that we are facing right now, and some new competencies and abilities that we need to add in our daily basis as a manager to try to get our best performance of our team to our clients and to fulfill our mission. Okay. So the traditional management system, let's say that everything begins in the Industrial Revolution. And at that time, the word was to produce more and more, no matter how. So at that time, it was common to see people working hours and hours in a row, even days, or even it's common to see children working in factories. So that's not the best thing to do, right? So in the beginning of the last century, Frederick Taylor wrote the Principles of Scientific Administration to bring some order and some scientific principles on how to organize a company. And since then, some words that Taylor brought to the world became buzzwords in our daily basis. So every day we will talk about estimation, process, control, and some other words that were as, assigned to us to stay. So we will continue to talk about stability. We'll continue to talk about estimation, control, and process. But the word since then is different now. Okay. In the past, we have the production lines and people doing the same work repeatedly over hours and hours, doing exactly the same job, tightening this exactly same screw or cutting some piece of leather to create a boot or some other piece of cloth. So since then, there are other sectors that were created, some other industries that were created. And for example, our industry, okay, IT was created way after Taylor, and at the same time, we still use a lot of principles that Taylor brought to us, like estimation, like control, and we will continue to do that. But how can we use this when we are spread over the world? So I'm talking here from the countryside of São Paulo state to people spread over Brazil and some other countries. Okay. Also, the type of work is different. So in the production line, we had some piece or some physical device and some standard. Okay, so we will produce thousands and thousands of the exactly same product. And here, in an IT company, um, every class, every code is totally different from the previous one. So if I get the same user story and send it to two different developers, we will have two different codes, at least in the name of the variable. Okay, why we have that? We don't have the exact instructions on how to do a task, right? So we have, for example, I'm a Java developer, so I have the Java instructions, the Java concepts of the language, okay? And also we have the user story concepts and the instructions. But at the same time, there are some detailing that depends on the developer. So we mix both concepts, the program language and the user story creates something entirely new. And this you might say that is some kind of art, but at the same time, it's different from art because we need to create something that has performance, that is reliable, that's secure. Um, we need to create something that will allow us in the future to maintain the code. So there is a lot of thinking on how to create the best code for a client. Okay, and this demands way more from our brain than in the past. Okay, so in the production line, we are working and doing the same step, the same tighten the same screw, but you are using our brain, but not in the way that we use right now. Okay, so we need to be totally focused in in our work. So how can we do that if we work in the information era, when we need to deal with our work at the same time that we deal with our feelings, with our family, the diseases like COVID, the earthquake that we had yesterday, for example, social life, the economic situation, our learning path, career path, our health. So we need to deal with a lot of different things, and at the same time we need to do our best in our work using our brain in the maximum capacity. So that's not an easy task. I can bring an example from myself. Yesterday I had a problem here in my home. I found some yellow scorpions, and you know that yellow scorpions is very dangerous. So of course, yesterday it was not the best day for to be productive, because I needed to deal with a lot of stuff. I have a 5 years old boy here with me. So it was a day that I split my focus to solve this personal problem and the problems of my my role inside Avenue Code. So this happens, and we can't predict things like this. Okay, so I would like also to add another point in the equation. So in 2019, the World Health Organization sent this report and sent a complete study about mental health, and they said that about 1 billion people had some disorder, mental disorder right now. So and 16 percent of this, 60% of these people uh, are anxiety disorders or depressive disorders. And we are talking about a lot of people, right? So almost 1 billion people has some kind of disorder. And this is pre-COVID, okay? So after COVID, I suppose that this number is way higher than in the past. So as a managers, how can we work to help you to produce the best, to be in your best shape, to help the clients and help Avenue Code to be better and better. So that's the challenge that we managers need to deal every day. Okay, so we need to be different than the past. Of course, we need to be aware of the estimations and aware to be aware with the delivery. But at the same time, we need to be aware of the people. So the first step is to be empathic. Sorry, about with all of you. We need to be open to hear you, to receive you, to understand your situation. Everybody has some history that needs to be respected. So this must be in the account to be the best supporter for you. Okay, so creating empathy with all of you, it's totally important to help you to extract your best for the work and for your lives. Okay, this picture here is from a HBO series, Band of Brothers. I don't know if you already watched it, but if you know, I highly recommend you to do that, because Band of Brothers tells a story of an army in the World War II, and we have this leader here who lead the team to do some impossible missions, and this is what these were a real story. So it's very nice to see how an empathic leader can make the difference even in war. And I highly recommend you to watch this series. This is amazing. Also, I'd like to bring two phrases that I got here that's very important for me. The first one is from Marshall Gams. Practice leadership requires engaging the heart, the head, and the hands, motivation, strategy, and action to help you to do your best version of yourself. Okay, but at the same times, there are some other side of the equation. Uh, and I bring this from Daniel Goleman, okay? And Goleman says that not that leaders need to be cool. We are not the coolest guys of the company, of course. But the emotional art of the leadership includes knowing how to press the reality of the demands without upsetting people. So we need to care and letting account that you might not be in your best day or in your best week, but we need to find ways to help you to be the best for the client and the company that you are working on. So that's a balance that is very difficult to achieve. And how we can create empathy with all of you. So I would like to talk about dissonance and resonance. So in physics, when you have two different waves, okay, or two different sounds that are in different frequencies, we call this as a dissonance wave. So when we translate this to a sound, musicians here can help me on that, but the sound is not nice. So it's a harsh sound. It's difficult to hear sometimes. And a resonance sound, when we have two different waves resonant, we have something that it's a way better to hear and create some pleasure for us to hear. It's a chorus, for example, is resonant. So what I'm telling you this, because Daniel Goleman, he again, and if Leticia is here in the meeting, be proud, Leticia. um, dissonant and resonance leadership, they tell us in this book that we can be resonant leaders or dissonant leaders for our team. And basically, as we don't have much time here, but basically a dissonant leader is the one who is totally concerned with the results, no matter how your team is performing, no matter how your team is feeling or the problems they are having at that time. So of course, sometimes a dissonant leader may be interested, but for companies who needs creativity, who needs to help the people to perform their best using their mind, it's more important to be resonant. And resonant is the leader that is aware of the actions uh, that the team are doing, are aware of the impact that your actions will cause to your team. Okay, so for example, this book brings an example from the BBC television in London. They had some budget cuts in the past, some years ago, and two different managers needed to tell the message to the team. The first one is totally focused on the results of the company and explaining that the budget cut was happening because the company needs to survive. And any moment he talked about the people. And the second one brought the same message, but also adding that they are concerned about the people and their families, and he would be the best, do your best to help that people. So, which leader is more empathic? Which leader is resonant with the team? Of course, it's the second one. And in our days, we really need to be resonant with our team. And how can we do that? First thing, we need to create rapport during our conversations. Rapport is, I believe that you had this in the past already. But you know, when you are talking with someone and looking in the eyes of the person, and when you notice you are in the same tone of voice and maybe making all the same gestures from the other people, the other person. So this is rapport. Rapport from the definition is a close and harmonious relationship in which people and groups concerned are sync with each other, understand each other's feelings or ideas, and communicate smoothly each other. So, rapport is a situation when we are able and open to understand the other part of the conversation. So, in conversations like this, we get deeper in the feelings of the person. And how can we do that? First, and this is a simple tip, please turn on your cameras. Even in one-on-one sessions, I'm not seeing you right now, but I believe that most of you are with your cameras turned off. So in one-on-one sessions, please turn your cameras. And how and why I'm asking you to do that? Our brain processes a lot of information in the same second. And one information is your micro movements, is your face, is your hands. So our brain uses all of this to compose the image and the impression about uh, your feelings. And this really help us to get closer to you. So please turn on your cameras during the conversation. It's not a company policy. It's just a way to get closer to you. Okay. Also, I know that in the remote world, we have a lot of windows open right now, and I know that you are doing this right now, and that's normal. Okay, I'm also do that sometimes, but when we are doing this, our focus is divided by other things, especially when we have a lot of notifications pop in our screen. So during these conversations, try to do your best to be totally focused on the other side of the table, okay, or the connection. Without that, it's not possible to create this connection, and we really need to understand you and understand your real needs. We need to create this connection in a deeper way, okay? And that's the second step is by doing this sometimes in our conversations, of course we will create connection to you, okay? And I assure you that we will do your best to help you on any needs that you have. um, I will not bring I will not bring names, but I saw two examples recently on LinkedIn that I that are examples to me of a restaurant leader. Okay, I read some testimonials from people from Avenue Code. Okay, and I would like to share here as an examples of restaurant leaders. So the first one was a girl who shared a situation that she's feeling a lot of stomach aches and stress because of the client, and she was facing difficulties to deal with some specific situation in the client. And this started to become better when she was able to talk to the manager, to her manager, in an open and safe way. So after these conversations and hearing honest feedbacks from this manager, she was able to she stopped to feel these stomach aches. Is it a miracle? No, it's just an open and sincere conversation with someone uh, where you really trust. So this girl trusted on his manager, on her manager, and he was able to create connection and help her to release all the stress she was feeling at that time. And that's an amazing story. The second one is a testimonial that I saw in my first week on Avenue Code from a developer who was telling that his delivery ambassador helped him to quit smoking. Not it was not uh, he was not needed to do that, okay? But he cared a lot with that person and helped him to convince him to quit smoking, and that's uh, make he better, he in his best shape, not only in the work but for his life. And that's what we would like to this connection that we would like to have with all of you as delivery ambassadors. We want to help you in the ways that you might never think about. That's part of our job, but we need to create some open space, and we need to create open space in our feedbacks also. Okay, um, when you let me ask you something. Are you comfortable to share a bad feedback with your manager or DA? If not, uh, I believe that you might start helping him to create this open space. But at least for us delivery ambassadors, we have the obligation to create a safe space to receive improvement feedbacks. Okay, we really need improvement feedbacks, because sometimes we do something that does not make you happy, and we won't know until you tell us that we are doing something that is creates some attrition or some problem for you. So this is part of our job, and this is very difficult to achieve, to create an open space where you feel comfortable to share feedback. Okay, Avenue Codes is one of the best companies that I saw that create ways to do this. So please, let's try to create this open space for sharing your feelings. Okay, we as delivery ambassadors, we will always do the more transparency and honest feedbacks for all of you, but we really need the same from the other part. Otherwise, we will not be able to make better our job. Okay. Um, the last slides, you could think that okay, so you are just nice guys, and uh, and you are the who do your help to help us, so you can think like fathers for us. No, that's not the case. Of course, we do that. Think about the results. We need results as a company, but we need to create this equilibrium to ask you to do your best for the job, to keep your deliveries, but in the other side, we need to help you to do your to stay healthy, stay well. Okay, so it's risky for us to fall in a temptation to lose our focus and be just aware of the your real needs, but we also need to ask you to do your best, and this is something that we need not will not lose from our daily basis. We need to ask you for do your best, okay, to do your best. And in the end, this advice is very basic, but you forget that. And I will take you an example from myself. In the last week of this year, I had a manager who brought me a huge problem, something that I never saw, and he was facing that. It was a difficult situation, okay? And we can't just turn off the cameras and leave this problem to decide to for after the holidays. We are not this kind of person, right? So we load this to uh, for out of the work. So during the holidays, I talked to this manager who was facing that was a very delicate situation, and I talked to him every day because I was really concerned about him. So a manager rarely takes some time for rest, and I'm bringing here because we really need to remember that we really need to take some rest. We need to be off some days. Otherwise, we will join that statistics of 1 billion person with some mental disorders. Okay, so there are quick. These are quick tips that I would like to share to you. Of course, there is a lot of others um, tips to share, and I would like to be open to you to receive any feedback that you might have, or talk about any topic that you feel interested to hear. So that's what I have to share to you share to you today. I expect that it's useful for you, and I would like to open for questions if we have some time.
Yes, we have 3 minutes. So anyone wants to share something? You can go, Ella. Ella?
Hi, it's Alap here. Thanks, Ricardo, for the presentation. I had a question at the end about for the manager or for the leadership is when you are managing people or when you are leading a team of people, I guess you need to set up an example as well sometimes for the team, right? So how would you do that in a setup where you are not working with them closely, but still you are like working with them, meaning that you are not coding with them, but you are managing the people who are, let's say, coding or who are doing management under you.
Yes, that's a really nice question because that's some situation that we face in a daily basis. It's difficult get the the point of the problem if we are not aware of the situation. So as a managers, we need to try to understand the technology and the context of that squad or the tasks that are being developed. So for example, this some days ago, one of my teams was suffering from an issue to publish a task, and I talked to everybody to understand in deeply what were the problem, and talking to them, I was able to create the scenario in my mind, and I try to do some silly questions, and I really like to do silly questions because this help us to understand the context, but at the same time, so we do some questions that nobody asked to them, and this makes them able to think about different things. So by create some real interest in the problem and try to understand the best, we can create a more a more deeper connection, and to a point that we are able to provide some suggestions for the team. Okay, so it takes time, and sometimes time is not something that is available for us, but we can do that by conversation and active listening and empathy with all of them. It's not easy, Alep, but of course we are able to do that with some time.